Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, Sibel.
Thank you for coming on to Plants on Wheels podcast. We really appreciate it. And we are happy to have you talk about your story and your journey in veganism. So, what was it that started you down that path to veganism?
Well, I remember the first time that I get closer to um, the concept or the idea of respect animal lives, and it was in my last year of school. In high school, I remember that we had the religion class, and the teacher asked us to go and look for different religion perspectives and how others perceive life, that it wasn't out of Catholicism. So I remember that me and my group get into the Hare Krishna's community, and that was the first time that I heard people change their diet and in some ways their lifestyle because respect to others, karma and dharma, and that was like a seed for me. So years after that, when I was in college, I remember that I encountered them again, and I was already more independent and ready to do changes that were about me. So I just started to learn more and transitioning into plant-based lifestyle, but definitely in the core of those values were always the idea of like, okay, I need to get to the point that I'm doing my best to don't support animal abuse or exploitation in any way. So yeah, that was like a few years ago, like around like a decade, I start to change.
Okay, so you've been vegan for how long?
So I started the transition when I was in my 20s, and then like I get like in terms of eating habits fully vegan in 2019. So it's been 7 years of being fully plant-based, and then I started to learn about veganism about like maybe 10, 12 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. That I mean, it's kind of like the same time frame for me too. And now that I have kids, I they won't have to wait until their 20s to know what real compassion is. And you are Colombian. Colombian food is delicious. So, we're interested in, we're wondering how has your Colombian identity shaped the way you see food, culture, and compassion?
Yeah, thank you for that question because actually that is being part of the shift or the whole project that I've been like developing, and mostly since last year that I have the opportunity to come back to my country after 5 years. So yeah, it's interesting because I did the change when I was in Colombia. So back then, like we didn't have at the time the amount of alternatives that we have today, and how creative the kitchens are nowadays. We didn't have that yet. So I did a change that was based on a whole food plant based. I was very focused on integrate as much vegetables and fruits that I can, like grains, and I keep learning about like how I can nourish myself better. And when I get obsessive about something, I really dive into it and I learn and I try to understand better how that is actually fitting in my lifestyle and with my body. So with all of that, when I came here, uh, well, I discovered all of this world of alternatives and resources, etc., etc., and definitely learning from both sides has been beautiful. But for me, now, like currently, I am like looking to preserve those traditions and all of those ancestral foods that we have, the dishes, in a more compassionate way. So currently, like I have of course I have a lot of Colombian community. My family is still there, so I try to give them a shift and the idea or the perception that how can their dishes can be still, like can you still can make a bandeja paisa that is super common and a lot of people knows. So like how you can make it in a plant-based version, or things like that. So it's a process for me personally. After all these years, I feel that it's just, it's on me. It's my second body, like talking to everyone. But I try to be very compassionate about like everyone is in a specific moment of their life, but also they're like our lives in general are like layered by different, it's a whole system, right? So we kind of tell
Yeah.
others like, oh, you can change, and they just like change. I do understand that there are several layers for that person to do changes, and my goal is to make it the most practical that I can and share it in that way. So yes, that's what I can say about Colombian. But we are, I keep thinking about how lucky and rich we are in my country. We are literally in the middle of the equatorial line, so we have wonderful food, and yes, I just wish that we Colombians can learn more about that when we are there.
Is there a Colombian restaurant in New York vegan that you would recommend?
No.
Oh man, so they just got to get it from you straight.
Yes, actually, like Alegría Vegana in Colombia, it started as a bakery. So I was just so obsessed with bakery. I was so obsessed with cinnamon rolls. So my goal was like, I need to make the best cinnamon rolls for me and then like sell them. And I remember that I started to do my home bakery in Colombia during the pandemic. And then when I came here, I kept learning and I switched my project to education. But I still had that like intention to bring like the bakery, mostly because bakeries in Colombia are like you think about bread and pastries, but bakeries in Colombia are actually you can find lunches, you can find like huge breakfast. So I love it. Like the culture of the bakery in Colombia, it's so amazing. So that's another topic. But yeah, so I found people that they definitely have, like they are vegetarian or they have vegan options into their restaurants, and definitely amazing chefs that have like a cultural background in Colombia, but non Colombian restaurant that at least that I know right now. Maybe someone can reach me out and tell me like, hey, come and try my food. I will be happy to do it. But yes, for now I don't know about that.
Yeah, me neither. I haven't come across one myself, and on the search. But throughout your journey, you have also educated people. So we're interested to know what called you to teach through the physicians committee.
Yes. Well, yeah, I every time that I review this, timeline of, like the whole journey here in the US, I am so grateful about the decisions that I've taken because everything is based on my passion for make a real change. And a real change for me is not necessarily a massive change, but just to see someone next to me even questioning themselves about like, oh, you know I feeling this way, and I understand that I can do these changes. So that is a big win for me. But coming back to your question, I remember I was working in plant-based restaurants for a while here in New York City, and I was fascinated learning. I was very happy being close to, like the food, like the root of where everyone just basically can get food, that is restaurants, like the main source. But, well, main source, but in some way, I just realized like this is so unhealthy. Like our standard American diet that is very sad, is not good for us in general. And my main concern is that this diet is spreading around the world, and it's just like as everything is just going out to other countries. McDonald's, KFC is going to Asia, is going to South America, and that is what people is eating, right? And then with me realizing like, yeah, this is what also vegans are eating, because, or non-vegans, but like what they are getting introduced to is good. Is like, it's tasty, right? It could be good. It could be like satisfying in some way, but it's not healthy. And in a long term, this type of diet are creating diseases, the diseases that we know today that are like pretty common, that we have normalized, as diabetes, as like high cholesterol, like heart issues, etc., etc. And we've got to a point in society that we definitely have normalized this so much, and I am just so against it. I am against like pharmaceutic in the sense of like, this is just a way for people to get profit from our diseases, from our illness. I am really not. I just don't feel that that's just for people, that that's fair for anyone, and mostly for me. So I definitely think like, I wanna take care of myself, and I wanna be a model for others to understand that we can do changes pretty early in life that are gonna support our health in a long term. And with that, I just started to teach people how to cook in their home, because I want them to, like definitely transition into a more plant-based lifestyle, but also that this is healthy, because we can be vegans, but vegans can be unhealthy. And that is a misconception that in society right now we still have, right? Because veganism, or the vegan term, has become something that is part of the market nowadays. So that was something that was icky me, and then I just started to be part of an organization that is called Plant Powder Metro New York, and they are based here in New York City. And I started to work with them, to be volunteer, to get more into their networking and their community. And I was fascinated to understand that there was community that was trying to make this change together. So I understand like, this is just part of what I wanna belong, but also I wanna share with people of my age, like people that is in the same stage of life that I am. Because what I've discovered is a lot of people comes to this lifestyle mostly for health, sometimes when they are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, because they already had past something as a cancer, as diabetes, right? So insomnia, like stress management, very poor. So like all of those things uh made them like realize like, okay, I can come to a change. So when all of that happened, Planned Parliamentary New York introduced me to the Physicians Committee and to the Food for Life program that I am an instructor for. And I was just like, yes, this is a path that I want to follow. And after that, I've been just really happy learning, because it's a constant process. Because nutrition, I feel I describe that nutrition is like a baby in medicine. So we all are learning in the journey, but yeah, that's how I get connected with them.
Yeah, I agree. Health is wealth. And well, more times than not, people wait till something happens to them to then want to change their life around. And if people get into that mindset, let me just live a compassionate lifestyle now, and you can prevent all of that in the long run. And
Yeah.
I think that's great that you are working towards that. I know it's hard work to change even people's thinking after, like you said, they come after being 40, in their 40s, their 50s, and their 60s to now learn about plant-based cooking. So,
Totally. And
was
I would love to say something. I would love to disagree with you about health is wealth. I My background is in psychology, and I really focus on how we establish our perception from language. So definitely, when we say health is wealth, we are living out of the frame those who doesn't have access to that wealth, right? The concept of society of have wealth. So I think that is something that has been sold to us. And like I say this from a place of like, I really want to make health a right for everyone. We all need to think that this is a right and we deserve to have health and not being engaged into a system that is basically like pushing us to be sick, to then get medicine and get into a system that is just like making us consume in other ways. So my project is also very political, like I try to be very critical about how we are taking decisions. So I really focus on I really try to focus and integrate all the issues that are very systemic and that we need to question. We don't gonna solve it like becoming just eating plant-based food. We don't gonna solve it all, but there are changes that in our mind can be done. And when we shift those ideas as like health is wealth, it's just like, no, for me it's health is a right. It is not about like it is not about acquire a certain status or something like that. I feel that it's coming back to the basics of this is what we deserve as just like human animals, and that we also want to give away to the non-human animals. So yes. What do you think about it?
I agree with you because, like you said, health is all right. We feel the same way. Like everyone should have access to healthy food. It shouldn't be because you live in a black neighborhood or, an underserved community. You can only now eat McDonald's and all this crappy food, which is usually in those type of neighborhoods. And, like you said, the systematic and political issues that people are not understanding, like just eating plant-based, it's a way bigger picture. Um, and yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to deal with all those different things. So was there a moment like, in your journey or while you were instructing people that reminded you, you know, why this work matters to you? Like, this is why I do what I do.
Oh, yes, I have several moments. um One of the most recent was this year early. I went to school in the Bronx, and even when it's really far from me. I currently live in Brooklyn, and even when it is really far for me to go to the Bronx, sometimes like go there. It doesn't matter the time, but it's just a commute that I have to do and plan like all the food schedule and how I'm gonna deliver everything and etc. I really like it because we are talking about black communities, brown communities, underserved communities, minorities that are not actually minorities, but
Yeah.
so for me, understand that is how I actually learn. Like there is no way for me. Popular education is the core of what I do. So if I am not understanding what communities are experiencing, if I am just reading that, if I am just like seeing that as an outsider on my screen, for me it doesn't make sense. Because in some way I am not connecting with what is actually in reality happening. So it just happened with this class that for the last day of it was a family series of classes. So we were doing classes with parents and also with their kids, and it was beautiful. It was a series of 8 classes, and the last class, one of the parents came to me, and she just was so grateful, and she just told me like like certain specific recipes that help her to kind of give away certain responsibility that was on her back, and kind of make her kids engage more in the kitchen and with their own food, which is something that I definitely promote a lot when I do cooking classes with parents and kids, because it's just like it's a way like family classes for me are wonderful, are one of the most beautiful ones, because you have everything. You have connection, you have definitely like connection in terms of relationships of the family, but you also have the connection with the food. You have moments of mindfulness that I try to talk a lot about it, and how like how the food system works, of like where this comes from, etc., etc. So it's so amazing for me to share this with both ages, because we can be old and still don't understand how the food system works, how our food is coming to our stores or our plates, right? So when she came, she was so grateful. I remember she came with some flowers, and they came with a cake, and they made a beautiful letter for me, and that was very meaningful. You know, like all those days that I woke up early, that I commute for 2 hours, that I did all what I did at that point was like, this is what I do this, you know, like this is what I am, like pursuing education as the main tool to create changes, you know. And yes, that's one of the most meaningful situations. I have experiences like that before, and it is always really, you know, like I feel grateful that I am able to do it, because I also do it with so much passion, and I give myself away just to put my soul on it and give my best. So yeah, that was one beautiful experience.
Yeah, that sounds just like you said. It was just, you were just even grateful that she did that. And that's that emotional connection that you continue to build over and over again. And you want people to basically have that same connection with their food and pretty much apply that to everything in their lifestyle. And when it does get emotionally heavy with all the ethics and the politics, how do you stay grounded?
Yeah. Well, I try to journal a lot. I definitely go to therapy. I like to dance a lot just to decompress, you know, myself, my body. I sometimes I go outside, I run, I try to keep moving. And definitely remind to myself why I'm doing this, you know, like what, like I feel that hope is important, because, you know, because what I'm doing, in some way I'm doing it for the next generations, you know,
Yeah.
like for your kids, for maybe my kids one day, you know, for those who are around me that are having kids, right? So that's what I feel, that this stage in life is really important, because we are in a moment that we are more conscious about what life actually is, and how consequences comes with every decision, right? So yeah, I am a very reflective person, so I try to, you know, engage with people that are like-minded, have conversations that nourish me, have people around that definitely, you know, even when they don't agree, they will discuss in the best way, and we just like exchange ideas. And I try to stay around a lot of cats. So cats heal me. So sometimes I do cat sitting. I have my baby girl too. And yes, that's, you know, like there are different small practices that definitely help me to keep grounded. I like to go to the beach when I can. I love to listen to music, so I'm learning to DJ now. You know, so I try to explore all of that artistic side of me, and definitely cooking. You know, like sometimes I just get into the kitchen and I forget of everything, and I just wanna cook.
So, so bring us into your kitchen. What flavors bring you back home? Like what Colombian dishes are you veganizing throughout your week?
Ooh, well, I definitely have every week in my kitchen and in my fridge there is a scramble. So I feel that I post this a lot. I mean, it's arepas with a scramble. That is my main thing, because I grew up in a home where my mom used to make arepas every week, and it was just so accessible to she make them, she shape them, and she keep them in the fridge. So whenever we want, we just put them in a pan, and, you know, like we saute them, and it was ready. So it could be breakfast, snack, lunch, dinner, whatever you want. So I try to keep that with me. Add more of the, you know, like those nutrition components that I can add. So sometimes I put like turmeric with peppermint, with pepper, or like maybe, you know, like chia seeds, or like whatever I can just incorporate that is gonna enhance my plate in a more nutritious way. But definitely arepa and scramble is part of it. Coffee is part of my life as well. You know, like I am Colombian, I love coffee, and definitely I drink coffee after my breakfast. That's a habit that has changed my life, and I feel that is really important for me to take care of my gut. But yeah, it's like, we have, for example, there is something that is caldito de papa, that is like potato broth. Super simple. People used to make it with sometimes fish or sometimes they use meat or the bones. And I try to make it as simple as I can, but it's super delicious, and that heals my soul in some way because it makes me feel like I am being hacked in my heart. When I am sick, when I am sad, I try to make those type of things. I love to make rice. We Colombians eat a lot of rice, so we have arroz con pollo, that is like arroz rice with chicken. So I try to veganize that, and we have several things to do it. So sometimes I use soy curd. Sometimes, actually, I just got some yuba, so I want to make it with yuba. So there are like different things that I love, and soup. My favorite soup, it is called ajiaco, is my favorite in the whole world, and whenever I can, I just try to make those. But definitely scramble and arepa. To answer, like the short answer is scramble and arepa are always on my fridge.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm hungry, so what's the perfect date night for you?
Date night. Oof.
Either you're gonna, go somewhere or do something, I guess, indoors.
Well, I love to be outdoors. I love to walk. I feel that here in New York we are so fortunate because we do have beautiful views. So a perfect night for me will be like, I mean, like if I am with someone, I love to cook. So cooking with someone else is really nourishing for me. Like food is my love language. So if I can cook with someone and enjoy the meal together, that is like great. And definitely, like going out either way to dance or either way to walk around one of the piers in the city. I feel that it's so beautiful. But I love to enjoy all the artistic scene in the city. And definitely, like if it is indoors, that will be something that I will do, like cooking together, watch a movie, or maybe in some way, if I go out, I love to try restaurants. I love to try new places. So that is something that I also love. But yeah, like, like it has to have food involved for sure, and
Oh
art.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, since you are living in New York, we have to ask, are you a pizza person or a burger person?
Either. I am not the type of person, like I crave so it's so rare that I crave for a burger. So when I do crave for a burger, I know some places that I can go to eat it, or maybe I make it at home. And pita, it like, yeah, sometimes. Well, I love sourdough though, so I love to make sandwiches for myself.
And what about for pizza?
Oh yes, I love pizza. Pizza, yes, 100%. Like, give me pizza in so many ways. I love to make pizza. Last year, I used to run some pizza classes. I love the pizza concept and how many things you can do with it. Yes,
That's great.
yeah.
We like to make calzones and all these different things. But thank you so much for this conversation. What impact do you hope to make through your teaching and your advocacy?
Yeah, thank you. That question is something that I've been asking myself for the last year, and definitely, like part of my impact here in New York is to create community. So that's what I've been focusing myself lately, because I do feel that we have a lot of access to information and education, and I have people around me that, like they are still working what they are doing, and they are like pursuing great things. I just wanna create community here in New York, just to keep growing together, and like, that comes from the idea that collective care and solidarity can make changes. And with that in the process, I definitely want to bring back to my homeland everything that I am learning, everything that I am doing right now, because as we talked early, nutrition is still something that we we all not have access to. It's a conversation that still needs to be constantly questioned, raised, and in some way, like just put it in a table. And I feel that this is something that we need back in Colombia, just to don't lose, as I mentioned, all those traditions and beautiful foods, plant-based foods that we have. And we basically have moved apart because industrialization and how we have been sold of the idea of the plate, the correct plate for people. So yes, that is what I wanna create in a long term. But I feel that every day we have a responsibility of create impact, because everything that we do creates an impact. So my goal is that I. Yesterday I was in a conversation with someone, and he introduced me to another person, and he said like, yeah, Vanessa is an excellent vegan influencer. And I felt so uncomfortable because I don't want to be an influencer or famous because that. I definitely want to be someone who creates impact. But I understand that the terms nowadays are, like influencer is a thing, YouTuber is a thing. So
Yeah, it's crazy, but I feel like just I feel the same way. Like you just feel like you're living your life, like you're just sharing your knowledge and helping people. And, if it's people, continue to get drawn to you for that reason, then that's great. So where can everyone find you?
yeah, well, I am in Instagram. I do have my New York City Instagram that is Alegría Vegana. Alegría, for those who doesn't know, because it's in Spanish. Since I came to Colombia, I came with the business. It means vegan joy. I love how it sounds in Spanish. So Alegría Vegana, and for those who follows me and maybe they want to understand better like how is my side of my Spanish project. Like that one is connect. That one is linked in the one from New York City. And then there are other links for my bakery, that is La Bakería, New York City. I also created recently YouTube, so I am trying to like share more recipes and share more of what I've done in some of the talks, or like spaces that I've been participating in. So yeah, that's mostly like I have a community in WhatsApp as well that people can join. That one is mostly in Spanish. And then on Luma they can subscribe for free. They get like some newsletters, so I share information about like maybe some projects that are currently happening, not just with me, some events that are upcoming, and also like how you can take action with some sign ups or sending a letter, which is very important for us.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for reaching out. I do love what you guys have done, and
Thank you.
definitely, like any type of collaboration that you want to create, like I'm happy to support, because definitely I really admire what you've done. I just love to see your baby, like I love to see vegans having their kids, and like all the process of pregnancy. As a woman, I feel very touched about it. So yes, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Bye.